you upgrade your capacity, you can handle way more, and you can handle way more weight and pressure. And the weight doesn't get lighter, you get way stronger.
What can throw so many men off is like in the initial phases of building a habit or a routine or a morning routine.
What does commitment mean to a modern day man?
Commitment is understanding what you get to do and doing it.
You can lie to your partner, you can lie to your children or your team, you can just lie by omission, but you can't lie to yourself.
It's dangerous territory. A man who is out of control, who lacks control, it's a scary place.
I've booked a full body MRI in a couple of weeks. It was like a 2-month wait. It's $5,000, a lot of money. And the reason I booked it was because what would you recommend to a man when it comes to this idea of getting a coach and being around the right community?
Find a coach who doesn't just know about this, but who has lived it.
It can be so hard to balance your marriage, your business and career, your health, your mindset. All these different areas of your life can compete with each other, and so many men capitulate or destroy the rest of their life in the pursuit of success. Now, if you can relate to any of that, it's not your fault. As men, we've been told we need to work hard to provide, but then everything else goes to the wayside. What if I told you you could have it all as a man? Making more money, working less. A marriage or relationship full of intimacy, love, and respect. A healthy body that's full of energy and a mind that is bulletproof. Well, you absolutely can. Today in this podcast, we break down the 6C system to have it all in life. We break down the 4 core areas you must have mastery over and how you can implement simple steps today to win and succeed in every single area. So if you want to be the best man you can be for your family, watch this entire episode. It gets better the whole way through. So there are 4 core areas every single man must have mastery over to become successful. And without these 4 areas, you and I both know that there is pain, divorce, stress, destruction. Don't want to be negative here. But on the other side, if you are in mastery of these areas, you have more money, you work less hours, you have the best relationships, and you have happiness in life. So we're going to dive deep into these today. But before we do, Sam, welcome back to the pod. How are you feeling today?
Thanks. Great to be here.
Amazing. I'm excited for this one. So let's dive right in. I think a lot of men in this day and age are struggling, right? And it's not just, men who are struggling financially. There's a lot of successful men who are feeling a lack of fulfillment, a lack of purpose, a lack of direction. And even though they've ticked the box of wealth and providing for their family, they just don't feel like life is going the way they want it to, right? They're disconnected. Why do you think so many men are struggling in this day and age? Why are men not living the lives they want and desire?
I think really it's pressure. Pressure seeps in. There's this desired life that we all really want to have, and we go by the route of what we think will get us there. And when it gets part of it, but not the bits that really matter, like it might get the business, it might get the bank balance, but that fulfillment and connection that we really thought we'd have, we don't. And it's like one thing is at the sacrifice of another. And it's a really, it's a tough place to be in. There's a lot of tension between the life that I have, the life that I want, why I haven't got it, etc. That lies there. That's really, really hard. And then there's this pressure. Well, if I just keep working harder, if I just keep performing, if I just keep showing up, then maybe I can get it.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't. And so we're like, okay, well, maybe if I just keep on going. And it just spirals.
And it's this constant game of moving the goalposts.
Yes.
We believe that once we have the thing, or once we reach the number, or once we hit the target, we'll somehow magically be happy. The biggest one is chasing financial freedom. When I get the house, or when I get the car, or when I get that certain number in my business or career or my bank account, then I can be happy. But in the process of doing that, we don't enjoy any of the journey, and we just feel burnt out and exhausted. And that becomes so normal for so many men. You can probably relate to this. The last few years for me, it has just become normal to not sleep well. It's become normal to be exhausted most days. And sure, I choose to get up and I'm grateful for everything. But there's some days where I'm like, I don't want to get out of fucking bed. And if I don't, I've got a team, I've got expenses, I've got a family that relies on me. So it's almost like I can't switch off. I know that I can. I know that's a limiting
Yeah.
belief, but a lot of men probably feel like they just can't stop. They have to keep going. Otherwise, they'll lose everything they're working so hard for. Is that something you see day to day with the clients we work with? What are you
Yeah, most
observing?
definitely. A lot of that pressure comes from, oh, everyone's relying on me to keep, the balls up in the air. And if I switch off or pull back or whatever, then everything is going to crumble. And it's like this pursuit of more that we don't feel like we have the power to stop or control.
Yeah, it takes so much courage to do that, man.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of similar to when the big C happened. We won't say the word in case we get demonetized. But so many men were forced to take the GAB, right? The little needle. And if you didn't, you'd lose your job or lose your career. Obviously, business owners had it a bit differently, but it was a really tough time. And it's sort of like that now, minus a pandemic, is we feel as men we can't switch off and we're constantly chasing more. It's this disease of more. And I have it too. Like I have a pretty good life. I'm not able to retire, but I always want more and quote unquote need more. And it has been very destructive for me in the past. And this ties perfectly into the four things. So, as a man, at an empowered man, we teach this. There are four core areas that you must master as a man, and they're all equally important. The first area is your body, it's your physical being. The second area is your mind, it's the brain up in between your two ears. The third area is your balance, and balance means relationships with your partner, your children, your loved ones.
Yeah.
And then we have your wealth. So your wealth is either your business or career, but it's also your cash flow, your investments. You can have a great business, but no cash or investments. So you have your body, your mind, your balance, and your wealth. We're going to be breaking down today what it looks like when you're in pain and struggling in each area, and also what it looks like to be in possibility for each area. And we're also going to be breaking down how you can actually achieve success in all these areas at the same time. But let's address the elephant in the room. What's the one area that every single man focuses on the most? Body, mind, balance, wealth.
Be wealth.
100%. And what does that story look like? What do you see day to day? What do men do in the pursuit of wealth? What happens?
It's the pursuit of more.
Yep.
It's not enough.
Never enough. And we have clients that make $200 million a year.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
Now, you and I both know that's a I'm not enough conversation. So let's unpack this. What normally happens is we go hard into wealth. So what does that look like? Building a business, pursuing a career, and working your ass off. So this means you're constantly busy. You have no time. You're dealing with relentless pressure and stress. You got the weight of the world on your shoulders. And the more wealth you build, the more success you build, the heavier that bar gets.
Yeah.
It's like you're putting 20 kilo plates on over and over again, but sometimes you don't feel strong enough to lift it. So all of our energy goes into wealth, and a broken or unintegrated form of wealth is constant stress, struggling to switch off, worrying about money. You either never have enough or you have plenty, but it's never enough. That is what it looks like to have a disintegrated wealth, right? The problem is most men, they sacrifice the other three areas in the pursuit of wealth.
Yeah.
So in our body, we're burnt out and exhausted. You wake up and you have no energy. You might struggle to get or maintain an erection. Like people joke about that. That's a real thing for a lot of men, very successful men. Physically, right? You feel like you're not strong enough, you're not fit enough, and we sacrifice the gym. We put on weight. So many men are overweight. They can't even see their little man anymore or their big man, depending on who they are. We struggle with this, right? So we sacrifice our health. Then we sacrifice our mind. What are the symptoms you see for a man who's disintegrated in his mind because of the pursuit of wealth? What do you see day to day?
It's like we talked about on a previous podcast. They're caught up in the stories, the limiting beliefs. But it's almost like, I don't know if you can relate to this, but it's like you're walking around with like fog in your brain. On a winter's day, you look out the car windscreen and you can barely see in front of you. It's sort of like walking around operating on that level. Everything feels quite scattered. Everything feels quite uncertain, unclear, and it's just all over the place. And you don't really feel like you've got the capacity or the control to handle anything. And, it's sort of like what you talked about before with burnout with the body. It's sort of like one more thing. It's walking around with that headspace. One more thing, and I'm going to snap.
If you're getting value from this podcast episode, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. It allows us to reach more men, to keep more families together, and to give you more value with the guests that we get on board. So please do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon so we can give you even more value. Yeah. And that's so dangerous for a man. This is where men punch holes through walls, get DVOs, protection orders, or hurt people. And I want to make something very clear, by the way. If you're listening to this right now and you've made it this far, you might not be able to relate to all these problems we're about to share. Okay. And we're not going to spend the whole podcast talking about problems, but I want you to really sit inside of these problems and ask yourself, which ones can I currently relate to? And which ones have I experienced in the past? Because we're not here to be negative. We're here to talk about the truth. And the raw truth is most men experience these problems, but they ignore them until they get too great. And that's when divorce, heart attack, disease happen, is when we ignore these problems. So I implore you, I beg you at home, please listen with an open mind, because I'm sure you've experienced some of, if not all of this. So we have the wealth, sacrifice, our health, burnt out, exhausted, physically not strong, physically unfit, overweight, struggling with erections, just unhealthy. Maybe you can experience some of that, maybe none of it, right? But let's say that's perfect. Then we have the mind, negative thoughts, brain fog, struggling to switch off, focusing on things that happened in the past, worried about the future, anxiety, stress. That's all in the mind category. And a lot of us really struggle mentally as men, but we're not allowed to share that because we struggle to appear weak. So what can you relate to within those ones if you're listening? Now, the third area is honestly probably the most important. But again, it doesn't work on its own. It's not in a silo, and that is your balance. That is your relationships. So a disintegrated man, think about that word, disintegrate. It's like lighting on fire and melting away, burning away. That's what disintegration is. An integrated man has it all aligned. So a disintegrated man in his balance is struggling with his relationships. And the most common symptoms that I see day to day is unable to communicate with your wife or partner. That comes in two forms: arguments, getting at each other's throats about stupid things, bickering, nagging, or not talking about the problems, right? Sweeping them under the rug. It's fine. She'll be right. So there's a breakdown of communication. There's also a breakdown of connection. For so many men, it's normal now to not have sex for years. You can get into your story, what happened in your relationship. And then there's also a lack of balance with the connection in terms of respect, appreciation, support. Most men don't feel respected. They don't feel supported. I struggle with this for years. When you're disconnected from your wife or partner, when you're struggling mentally, or when your physical body isn't powered up and weaponized, your children see that. The relationships around you see that. You know, when you probably experience this, like I feel older. I look in the mirror, I'm like, fuck, I look way older than I am. My eyes have got wrinkles. My skin's got like a sag to it, sullenness. This is when people around you see you in a certain light. So to recap, we have the wealth where most men go. We have the body, we have the mind, we have the balance, and none of these things work without the others. Like you can have a six-pack bodybuilder, you can have a great mindset, you can have a great marriage, but if you can't pay your bills, things break. You can have an amazing business, $100 million. You can have a great marriage, be a great father, have a great mindset, but you get terminal cancer, things break. Or you can have everything lined up, but your wife cheats on you, things break. And to truly be successful as a man is to have mastery over all four. Why do men struggle to do that so much? It's almost unheard of to find a man who has two of these things firing, let alone all four. Why do we struggle to balance these areas?
From my own experience, I remember many times it feeling like if I fire in this area, it's always at the sacrifice of something else. You know, going through high school, you're taught to work hard, and then you go and do extra study, and you're taught to operate in a vocation. You're not taught to operate in relationships or life or health or a lot of other areas. And so it's like, okay, I either choose that or I choose that which I don't really know how to do. So I'll go with the business route. And then we get a partner and we invest in a relationship and it's in the honeymoon phase and it's all great and exciting and we seal the deal. We marry that person, we have kids or whatever, we buy the house, and then we keep going with the business. And then things start to break down in the relationship and we go straight to, oh, she doesn't understand me, or don't they understand how hard I'm working or whatever. And it just always feels like it's this constant pull and a lack of balance at the sacrifice of something else.
It's always sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I've written 2 words down here that I think will land. It's effort and ease. So think about, for a man, as you go into adulthood, there's no initiation. It's you either go to university, you get into a trade, you start your own business, or you go work for someone, or you fuck around. There's not too many options. And when you're younger as a man, you think you know everything. I'm 33 now. I've coached thousands of men in their 40s and 50s. I thought I knew everything about 3 years ago. I had my first daughter. I realize now I know very little and I know quite a bit, right? So as a man, you don't really have an initiation. You just go and work and provide. And I think for a lot of men, providing comes naturally. I don't know about you. When I had my daughter, I'm like, I need to provide. There was no thought behind it. It just happened. It was instinctual. Protect my family, provide. And in business, we put in all this effort, right? Effort to fix problems, marketing, sales, running a team. And it's not super complicated. Like, business is hard, but it's also simple. There's marketing, there's sales, there's delivery and product, there's operations. There's not too much more. Bit of accounting. It's not that hard. But all the effort goes in there. So it's like, how do I put effort in there and grow my business or wealth while also putting effort into my relationship, into my body, into my mind? And that's where a lot of men get stuck, because there's no ease. It's not easy. At the beginning of your relationship, it's easy because that's all you focus on. You're dating her, you're asking her questions, you're spending time with her. All the effort goes into your partner. Then you have kids, you get married, all the effort goes into providing. And then it's not easy to do both. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of men, they're like, how can I have all 4? But we also know, I think anyone listening knows that if you don't have all 4, you're fucked. Like, you cannot have just one. The amount of men that come to Empowered Man, maybe you're one right now, their wealth is good, but their wife doesn't love them anymore. What's the point of the wealth? Their wealth is good, but they have no energy. What's the point of the wealth? Their wealth is good, but they can't switch off and enjoy life. What's the point of their wealth? So if you are a man listening to this right now, balance isn't real. Balance doesn't exist for men. What exists is effort and focused attention. And a powerful man is able to put his effort and focused attention into business and dominate, and then able to take that same effort and attention and put it into his body and put it into his mind and put it into his relationships, not at the same time, but throughout the day and throughout the week. Now you might be listening to that and going, how the fuck do I do that? Right? And it's really hard to do because we sacrifice. So if you're a man listening to this right now and you can relate to any of that, where are you sacrificing? And also, how are you sedating? What are you doing to numb the fact that this reality exists for you right now? What are the most common forms of sacrifice and sedation you observe with the men that you work with each day? What are you seeing?
The sacrifice, I feel like you've sort of covered a lot of that. The sedation it's burying the head in the sand, because if I bury my head in the sand and work harder, then that problem will cease to exist. And the escalation of that problem might sort of diffuse a little bit, but it's still there. And especially in a relationship, it might be swept under the rug, but as soon as other conflict comes up, that thing comes back out. And each time the cost gets higher. Head in the sand, work harder, work later, stay at work until, after the kids are in bed, so you can avoid that crazy time where the wife's, a little bit triggered. It sounds crazy, but this is what happens, right? And the sedation, so we work harder, or we drink. I was chatting to a guy recently and he was like, oh yeah, I sleep pretty good because I drink before I go to bed. And then I wake up and I feel like shit, but I got stuff to do. So I'm going to get about doing it. And then I get home and I say, today's going to be different. And then it's half an hour before he's stressed again and he's drinking again so that he can sleep. And it's like this sedation, this head in the sand, this numbing the pain, numbing the challenges, ignoring things that pop up, ignoring the health niggles that come up that later turn into something. It's this sedation. It's not there, so therefore I don't have to do anything about it.
That's exactly what it is.
Mm.
All successful men who are trying to provide go through 4 core problems: sacrifice, sedation, suppression, and shame. We sacrifice our health, our physical health, our mental health, our family in the pursuit of wealth. We sacrifice everything else. Then we sedate ourselves because it's fucking stressful. When I'm going to war in my business, when I'm trying to provide for my family, when my wife doesn't want to have sex with me, I feel this pressure. So instead of dealing with it, I'll sweep it under the rug and I'll sedate with drugs, alcohol, porn, gambling. Maybe it's none of those things for you. Maybe it's just work itself. And because we're sacrificing so much and because we're suppressing, because we're sedating, then we begin to suppress, right? We suppress our emotions. We feel angry. We feel guilty. We feel stressed. We feel all these negative emotions as men, but we can't share them. We don't want to be weak. So the suppression builds up within us and then we explode.
Yeah.
We explode by making shitty decisions, by destroying everything around us, by cheating, by yelling at our kids or our wife. And then the final piece comes in, shame. How many men feel shame? It's one of the lowest energy vibrations, and most successful men feel this. I'm not good enough. I'm a piece of shit. I need more. We destroy our relationships. And it's this vicious cycle. Sacrifice for the pursuit of wealth. Sacrifice leads to sedation. Sedation leads to suppression. Suppression leads to shame. And this vicious cycle destroys men.
Yeah.
Now, if you can relate to any of those things right now, understand it's not your fault. You haven't been taught how as a man to be successful in every area, but it is your responsibility to fix it. And the good news is you can fix these issues so quickly with the right roadmap, but it begins with making a commitment to you. So let's talk about this. There are a few core areas on changing this pattern and becoming successful, not just in wealth, but all 4 of these core areas: body, mind, balance, and wealth. And the first one is clarity. Talk to me about clarity for a man. Let's say you're a hardworking man. You can relate to anything we've shared. How do I create clarity? What does that even mean for me?
I mean, clarity is getting really clear on what you want. Ultimately, it's creating, it's sort of like cleaning the lenses that you are looking at life through, and really getting super, super clear on what is the life that I want to live. Clarity is about vision. It's about going, well, okay, this is what I see. This is what I want. This is the life that I've dreamed of, and it hasn't eventuated because of this. So this is what I get to create.
Yeah. It's about getting to the truth.
The truth.
The raw fucking truth. Yeah. When I think about clarity, it took me jumping off a balcony because I was arguing with my wife, drunk for the 20th night in a row because I was so fucking stressed. And I was so limp. That's probably why I didn't hurt myself or die. It was only 2 stories, but I could have broken my neck, twisted an ankle. Nothing happened. But the next day, seeing my wife looking at me just with pity, like disgust, and she still loved me. It was like a mixture of love and disgust. In that moment, I'm clear. Like, I need to get my shit together. Or my partner saying, I don't love you anymore 9 years prior to today, before I'm with my current wife. Like, these are moments of rock bottom. And I think for a lot of men, we have to wait until rock bottom before we make a change, but you don't have to wait. You can listen to this podcast right now and start with clarity. Like, what's not working in my world? Start with those 4 areas. What's not working in my body? Get to the raw truth, man. Like, don't sugarcoat it. I'm fucking fat. I'm 30 kilos overweight. Good. Get honest. Not the end of the world. Get to the truth.
Yeah.
What's not working in your body? What's not working in your mind? What happens up here? What's not working in your marriage? This is a hard one. Like, getting to the truth of what's not working, and you'll write down what she's not doing. No, what are you not doing? What's not working in your wealth, in your business, with your team? That alone is a liberation exercise. It's like, holy shit, I know shit isn't working. I can feel shit isn't working, but now I'm getting it out on paper. Now I've got the truth. Clarity. Then what's the opposite? What's my vision? Like you say, like, what am I aiming for? Men, I've done this for years. Men say what they want. I want success. I want freedom. I want a great marriage. Motherfucker, no, you don't. The way that we do it is we put on a blindfold. We're trying to hit a bullseye, but we don't know where the fucking dartboard is. It could be in Madagascar. We're in fucking Australia, and we're throwing 3 darts a day trying to hit. Like, you can't hit the target. So where are you now? What's not working? Where do you want to go? What does your vision look like? Truly, like, what the fuck do you want, man? And then what's holding you back? That's clarity. 3 points. Where am I today? Where do I want to go? What's holding me back? That exercise is so powerful. How many men listening are actually going to make the time to do it?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so hard for a man to sit with himself and ask these questions?
It's quite a confronting space. And I mean, some of that shame can seep in because it's like, well, I should be there by now. I should have that by now. You know, we use those dangerous words like should to make us feel even worse about why we're not there. That's the dream that I had, but that was 20 years ago. I should have had it by now. I should have been there. And I haven't.
Should be further ahead. I should have more money.
Yeah. I should have that relationship. I should have, you know, yeah. And it's quite confronting. But I mean, whether you own it or not, it's still the truth. So why not just own it so you can start to move through it?
It exists whether you look at it or not. It's like if you get a lump in your rib or something, and like, you know, it could be cancer, and you just ignore it. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And you finally go to the doctor and they say you got a week to live. Well, it's a bit too late right now. Whereas if you go and get it looked at, you knew it was there, but now you're bringing it to your awareness, and it's confrontational. It's really fucking hard. I've booked a full body MRI in a couple of weeks. It was like a 2-month wait. It was $5,000, a lot of money. Came out of my property fund. And the reason I booked it was because I want to get clarity at 33 years old. Is there anything wrong with me? I'm terrified. My aunt died of lung cancer. I've got 2 girls to look after. I've been feeling a bit weird recently, had a bit of anxiety, maybe like I've got cancer or something, hate the thought. And I'm terrified of finding out that I do. But I'd rather know now than in a year when it's too late. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have done that in the past because, like most men, I swept shit under the rug. So step 1 to have mastery as a man in your body, mind, balance, and wealth, winning and successful, is clarity. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? What's holding you back? Take an hour today, ask those questions. If you want more support with that, we have an entire process in the Empowered Man app and system. I'll put the link down below. Send me a DM on Instagram and I'll get you guys the tools. Step number 2, I've got clarity. I know what's not working. I know where I want to go. I know what's holding me back. Step 2 is commitment. What does commitment mean to a modern day man? What is the definition of commitment in your eyes that every man must understand?
Commitment is understanding what you get to do and doing it. It's as simple as that. It's following through. It's having integrity. And it's not relying on whether you feel like it or not, but it's pushing past. On our last podcast, I talked about my journaling, and every morning I ask myself how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. Someone challenged me on it recently and said, yeah, but like, you told us that your feelings aren't facts. So why are you asking yourself what you feel? And I said, your feelings are there, and we identify our feelings to inform our level of action. So I'm feeling this way. I'm committed to what I get to do. And because I'm feeling this way, I know that in order to achieve what I've committed to doing, I get to do this, and this to help me get there today. I might need a bit of extra self-care. I might need a bit more time off. I might need to, do a little bit more meditation today just to kind of get myself into the zone. Your feelings are there to inform your level of action. The commitment, what you get to do, it's not about whether you feel like it or not. That's how I got to, 1,100 days of doing it every single morning in a row. It's not about whether I feel like it. Same with going to the gym. I don't always feel like it, but I'm committed. And so I'm going to do it.
And most men struggle with that. Sorry, Jess, something else to
No,
add?
and making it non-negotiable. So and you taught me this years ago, that if I get into bed at the end of the day and I realize that there is something on my non-negotiables that I haven't done, I get up and I do it. A couple of weeks ago, one of my non-negotiables is 10,000 steps minimum a day. And a couple of weeks ago, I'd been out at a festival, and I got home. It was a Tuesday night, and I think it was like 11 p.m. or something. I got into bed, and I looked, and there was 8,000 steps, and I was like, and I didn't have my son that night. And normally I'd go, in the past, oh well, but I went, you know what? Grab the dog, let's go for a walk. It's 11 o'clock at night. We're getting it done. And that's what we get to do. We get to create that crystal clarity on what we want, and then we commit to making it happen.
I love that so much. And it's so true. Like, as men, we say we want all this stuff, but we're full of shit. As a man, if you say you're going to do something and you don't follow through, it's one of the worst things you can do. Let me tell you why. Because you can lie to your partner. You can lie to your children or your team. You can just lie by omission. You want to get healthy? You don't tell anyone. You say you're going to go to the gym? You don't tell anyone. You just tell yourself. You say you're going to fix the procrastination in your business? You don't tell anyone. But you can't lie to yourself. And when you make a micro commitment as a man, you say you're going to do something in your own mind, you commit to it, and then you don't follow through, you know that you're full of shit. And you can put on a mask that you're successful and confident, but you can't lie to yourself. Confidence comes from following the fuck through, especially when you don't feel like it. And it's fucking hard. Like, it's hard to run a business and be successful while also committing to your wife and taking her on a date, and also being there for your kids, and also journaling and reflecting on your day, and also going to the gym. That's a lot of commitments. Like, throughout the day, you got 15 things you get to do. But the man who wins is the man who does it. Yeah. And that builds so much confidence. It takes you to this point where you know that you're the man. And I said this to you at a retreat a few years ago. And I asked all the attendees, there were 80 men in the room, some of them making hundreds of millions a year. And I said, there's been this turning point for me as a man where I have clarity. I know what's not working, but for years I've made these commitments and I haven't followed through. And I started doing what you shared. I would go to bed at 8 p.m. and I'd done 6,000 steps. It's raining outside. I'd get the fuck up. I'd walk around my living room for 4,000 steps because I realized that it's time to make a commitment and follow the fuck through. My wife didn't respect me. My team didn't respect me. I didn't have what I wanted in life, and I blamed everyone else. It was only when I made a commitment to follow the fuck through that changed. And I said this at the event. I said, guys, I've realized recently that I'm the fucking man. Now, I don't say that with any arrogance. Like, I'm not sitting here telling you I'm better than you. I've just proven to myself enough times that I follow through that I'm the fucking man. And I believe that. I truly believe that after years of depression, anxiety, self-doubt, feeling unworthy, I'm the fucking man. Now, I asked the room, I'm sure you remember, I'm like, who here hears that and thinks that that's not fair or that's uncomfortable? Who here feels like I shouldn't say that? Half the hands went up. But think about that. If as a man, you genuinely, in your heart of hearts, can't say, you know what, I'm the fucking man, then how can you win at anything? It's all just a facade. So the moral of the story here, man, if you're listening to this right now and you want success in your body, mind, balance, and wealth all at the same time, make a commitment. And that means doing what gets to be done no matter what. Yep. You wake up, it's raining outside. I said I was going for a run. Get the fuck up. Come home after a long day. Your wife said to you, you need to tell me when you're coming home late, you come home late. Own the fact you didn't follow through. Commit no matter what. And when you fuck up your commitments, and you will, own that shit. Get back on the wagon. Yeah. You know, we had coached a client in the Empowered Man. He followed through on our morning routine, and he did it for like 18 days straight. Day 19, he drops the ball, doesn't do it, doesn't commit, doesn't follow through. And he's like, man, I've failed. Takes a week off, doesn't start again. I'm like, bro, did you fail? You did 19 days in a row, 18 days in a row. Well, I didn't think of that. Gets back on the wagon. Commitments will fall apart, but get back on the wagon quickly. If you want to actually take this framework that I shared and apply it to your life, it's part of our Empowered Man Armory and our app that we've spent almost 250 grand on. If you want access to a powerful system where you can use this reframe system I just shared with you every single day, then find me on Instagram at Tony Empowered Man, TonyEmpowedMan. I'll put the link down below as well. Send me a DM saying reframe, and I'll give you this exact framework as well as early access to the Empowered Man app when it launches. Now, when you have clarity And when you have commitment, the next phase ties perfectly into this, and this is consistency. You've done 1,100 days of journaling. That's empowered you. What are the biggest barriers you see to consistency that prevent men from having it all in these areas? What is consistency, and why do so many of us struggle with it?
Consistency is about building a rhythm. Really, consistency is about doing it again tomorrow. What I do today, I do it tomorrow. It's not, and that's irrespective of, like I said, irrespective of how I feel, I'm getting up and doing it. And we can focus on today, doing it today, but we get to do it again tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And what can throw so many men off is like in the initial phases of building a habit or a routine or like a morning routine, is it feels hard in the beginning. And of course it does, because you've never done anything like it before. So it feels a bit foreign to you. But the more consistent you become, the easier that it gets. But like, we get to follow through on it. And if it's hard, oh well, embrace it. Being overweight, being separated, being like struggling is hard as well. Choose your hard. But become consistent with what you've committed to. That speaks volumes, especially to a partner. I remember my ex used to say to me, don't tell me, show me. People want to see results.
Yeah, and how often do we commit to something and then we don't follow through for long enough? So the first problem is we don't have clarity.
Yeah.
The second problem is we don't commit, but a lot of us do commit. New Year's resolutions, telling our wife or kids we're going to change, saying we're going to run it differently in business. And a lot of men out there, I was going to say condemn. I really see you for those of you men who have committed to something for a week, a month, a year. Maybe you stopped drinking. Maybe you started finishing work earlier, but then the old habits creep in. And we struggle to stay consistent. When I think of consistency, I don't like this whole idea of 62 days to build a habit or whatever the fuck people say. The way I look at it is consistency is two things. It's what you're doing and who you're being, right? So if you do a morning routine or you finish work earlier or you exercise 7 days in a row or 30 days in a row, that's something you're doing. But if you can build up enough of a streak to make it who you are, it becomes who you're being. And I think really that's the key of what it means to be an empowered man. An empowered man doesn't think about doing these things. He just does them consistently, no matter what. Let me explain what I mean. Every single man, hopefully listening to this right now, brushes their teeth. Do you brush your teeth?
I do.
Amazing. Now, when you were younger, did you brush your teeth?
Yeah.
Okay, when you were 2-3 years old, did you brush your teeth?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
Because that's how I was taught.
That's how you were taught.
Yeah.
And you were held accountable. Now, if you weren't held accountable by your parents, would you be brushing your teeth?
No.
Okay, interesting. Now, every single day, do you need to be reminded to brush your teeth?
No.
Do you think about brushing your teeth?
No.
It just happens without thinking.
Absolutely.
So it's become a piece of you. It's not that you're doing brushing your teeth. You just brush your teeth. There's no, I'm tired today, I don't feel like it. And this is sort of the level you can get to as a man. And it's such a powerful place. Yesterday, I had CrossFit at 5:30 in the morning. I got up at 4:45. I've been feeling run down. I've been feeling tired. I've been feeling stressed. The night before I go, I'm thinking maybe I won't go in the morning. I'm on like 48 days this year so far. It's March. I've been crushing it. I've been consistent Monday to Friday. I wake up, my alarm goes off. I'm a little bit tired. I look at the schedule for the day. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go. There wasn't much thought behind it. Whereas 3 years ago, I'd be like, oh, I don't feel like it, this and that. And it's because it's who I am. When you can build habits in your body, your mind, your relationships, your balance and wealth that empower you, and it's not what you do, it's who you become, you win. So if you've got clarity, if you've made a commitment, the best piece of advice I can give you is build power streaks.
Yeah.
Build streaks. How many days in a row can you do that thing you've committed to? 5, 6, 20. And let's say you get to 20 and you fuck it up. Try get to 21. As a matter of fact, in the Empowered Man app, we actually have a system that helps you track your streaks, and we've gamified it. So you can actually get points every single day you hit your streaks and level up your character. If you do want to know more about that, I'll drop the link down below to reach out on Instagram and actually get access to this and gamify the process. So we have clarity, we have commitment, we have consistency, and becoming someone who does it no matter what. And it becomes who you are, like brushing your teeth. When that happens, as a man, you reach something called capacity. And capacity is like having a water jug. So imagine in your wealth, you have a 2 liter or gallon of milk or water you can fill that jug with, right? That's not a huge amount in your wealth. So let's say you can only fit in a bit of stress, a bit of money, a bit of success, a bit of team. In your body, you can only do one workout. In your mind, you have one good day out of 7. In your relationships, you have one good day out of 7. That's your capacity. When you have clarity, when you make a commitment, when you're consistently doing the shit that needs to be done in all these areas, your capacity begins to increase. And it's so hard to understand this until you experience it, but let me explain how it played out for me. Grinding in business, sacrificing sedating to build wealth, stopped working out, stopped eating well, got fat, got depressed mentally, had a 6-month-old daughter, thought I was successful, had some properties, started thinking about ending my life. No sex or connection with my wife. My wife comes to me and says, I don't know if we're going to work out. I feel like I'm raising our daughter on my own. Now, as a hardworking man, when you hear that, your heart breaks. You go into victim mentality. You're like, for fuck's sake, woman, I'm struggling. I can barely breathe right now. And you're telling me this shit? I'm working so hard for you. Now, obviously, I worked through that. I got some clarity. I made a commitment. I was consistent with the changes. Today, I can get done a year's worth of work in a quarter. It used to take me 2 months to hire someone. I can do it in 2 weeks now. It used to take me, I used to make 100 grand in the business. I can make 400 grand now a month. I used to have sex with Rosie once a month. Now we have sex at least once a week. I used to have no, all these areas of my life have upgraded because I have upgraded my capacity for life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because think about what holds you back from having it all. You're not able to deal with stress. You're not able to handle exercise while also working. You're not able to handle the negative thoughts while also working. You're not able to handle the date night while also being there for your kids, while also working. When you upgrade your capacity, you can handle way more, and you can handle way more weight and pressure. And the weight doesn't get lighter, you get way stronger. How have you seen capacity play out for some of the men you coach? Because you work with some guys who are fucking successful with wealth, but the rest of their life was falling apart. How has capacity played out for them?
It's like you already said, you start, you create that clarity, you commit to it, you be consistent with it, and then you watch what you're able to handle. So like I've been working with a couple of guys in particular for nearly 2 years now. And in fact, one of them I'm speaking to this afternoon, I spoke with a couple of weeks ago, and I said, if we were having this conversation a year ago, it would be a very different conversation. And he was like, oh yeah, I just do the work now. And I'm able to carry more. I'm able to handle more. And some of those problems that a year ago thought they were going to take me out, I'm handling them with ease. And that's just one story. I've even noticed it in myself. Like I look after a lot of different areas within, our client success team and other areas in the business. 3 years ago, I wouldn't have had the capacity to carry a lot of those things. Now I would be like, oh my God, there's so many things at play here. Whereas now I like to think, I'm like, yeah, it's all good. I've got it. I've got systems in place. I'm organized. I'm scheduled. But I've got a higher capacity because I'm doing the work.
Yeah. You've done the first few steps. You get clarity on what is and isn't working. You commit to doing whatever it takes to fix it, no matter what. You do that consistently, and you get stronger.
Yeah.
You get stronger. And this is the cheat code for men. This is how you win at life. You upgrade your capacity. When you don't have a high capacity as a man, you're not able to deal with stress. You feel burnt out. You feel exhausted. You feel tired. You feel stressed. You feel angry. You feel triggered. And yes, you can build success, but you burn everything to the ground in the pursuit of success.
Yeah.
When you upgrade your capacity as a man by consistently doing what needs to be done in every area, guess what? You feel energized by life. You're able to take on more pressure than ever before. You get so much more work done. You're a better father, a better husband, a better provider. And even though you have so much coming at you, stress, problems, challenges, it just Teflon Don, water off a duck's back. This is a place of power. But you can't be in that place of power if your capacity is so low. You got to upgrade what you can handle. And that begins with committing to yourself.
Yeah.
Now, this is where it gets really exciting. Because once you upgrade your capacity as a man, you now start to take control. Think about the biggest problem we have as men. We lose control. We lose control of our marriage. Disconnected from the one we've promised our life to. We lose control in front of our kids. Yelling and screaming, they're walking on eggshells. We lose control at business. Stressed, overwhelmed, tired, angry at our team. And this lack of control is ultimately an explosion of negative thoughts and negative emotions. Like, think about how often as men, we just explode what we're feeling onto people. Rage, anger, frustration, unmet expectations. This loss of control is what real weakness is. You know, weakness for a successful man is not vulnerability. It's not sharing what emotions you have. That's strength. Weakness is letting those emotions that you suppress and sedate explode onto people. And that lack of control is what causes the shame.
Yeah.
So in my mind, what it really means to be a man is not to be in control of my team or my wife or my business. Those things I can't control. I can influence them. It's about being in control of myself internally as a man. You know, when as a man, my capacity is upgraded and I'm in control of my thoughts. I still have negative thoughts, but I'm able to choose different thoughts. When I'm in control of my emotions, I'm afraid. How the fuck am I going to figure this out in my business? How am I going to pay this bill? I'm in control. You know what? I'm going to figure it out. I feel calm.
Yeah.
I turn fear into calm. I'm angry at my wife because she did something. Within a second, I turn that anger into patience. When I'm in control of my body, my mind, all the things internally, life becomes fun, man. And I want to make this really clear. It's not about not having problems. Like, you don't magically become this empowered man, this messiah who has the body, the mind, the balance, and the wealth, and life's fucking amazing and there are no problems. No, there are more problems, but you're in control of it all. And man, this, if you've never experienced this as a man, it is heaven. It's like nothing can fuck with me. I am so powerful. And again, it's not I'm the man, I'm powerful. Like, I know in my heart of hearts, I've got this. Like, what would your life look like if no matter what happened, you knew I've got this?
Yeah.
Certainty. Yeah. I have got this. Babe, I've got this. Team, I've got this. That only comes with being in control of yourself. What do you notice happens with men who are successful in one area? They feel like they're in control, but they're really not. What does a lack of control look like for most men? And how do you fix that?
Well, I mean, internally, they're like a bit of a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
You know, in a number of ways. When, you know, there's even an unapproachability about them, especially, you know, with their team. It's like, oh, they're a bit of a loose cannon. So I'm not sure if I can approach them with this. Can I go to them with this challenge? Am I going to get yelled at? Our kids, our partner, walking on eggshells with us. There's this lack of control because of the internal lack of control. So that sort of, it plays out in every area, and we don't even know how we're going to respond or be in certain situations as well. It's dangerous territory. A man who is out of control, who lacks control, it's a scary place because even he doesn't know what he's fully capable of. So it's something we get to keep in check.
These are the men who end up killing people.
Yeah.
Like, do you know those guys that are, and whether it's religious or not, it's a different story. The guys who go and drive cars into people, kill their wife for cheating on them, kill themselves. Like, it's ultimately a lack of control. And it can be as severe as murder or mass murder, but it can also be as severe as just blowing up at someone you care about.
Yeah.
And every time you do that, you show weakness. Like, you really do show weakness. When you blow up at your kids, you're being a weak man. And I'm not belittling you. I've done it myself, but you're being weak because you don't know how to control your emotions. And you know why? Because your father didn't know how to control his emotions. So now you're taking his weakness that his father gave him and you're channeling that to your children. And that's okay, by the way. We've all done it. but start to work on controlling those areas.
Yeah.
Because when you're in control of your body and your mind, guess what? The balance and wealth come way easier. It's really fucking hard to build success when you're constantly thinking, you're physically burnt out, and your marriage is fucked. This is where all those areas come together. So ask yourself, what can I do to take control of my body? What can I do to take control of my mind? That is the basis of all of this shit.
Yeah.
Your body is your mind and your mind is your body. If those two things are in control and they are within your control, you're way calmer in your marriage. You're way more productive in business. You know, the days where I'm mentally struggling and I'm not working out, I'm not eating well, it's very rare these days. It's in those days where I'm snappy. It's in those days where I'm reactive towards my wife. Then I feel that shame. When I'm burnt out physically and mentally, I don't perform in my business. So really taking control comes down to taking control of your controllables.
Yeah.
Not the business, not the team. You can influence those things. You influence them with power when you're in control of yourself. Now, this is the most important piece to me. They're all important. Connection. Why do we work so fucking hard? Why do we grow businesses and sacrifice from the age of 18 or 20 to 60 fucking 7? 47 years of life. You only get one of it. Why do we work so fucking hard? Why? To provide. Sure, maybe you're working hard to buy things for yourself. I'm not. You're not. Most men who want to provide for their families are not. We work so fucking hard to provide a life of freedom for our families. My wife never has to work again because of how hard I work. But guess what? That doesn't matter if we're not connected. If I'm not connected to my daughters, if I'm not connected to my wife, if I'm not connected to myself, what's the point of any of this shit?
Yeah.
How many men right now are lacking connection to the people they love and to themselves? You know, as men, we're more connected than ever by social media, podcasts, screens, but we're also so fucking disconnected.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a disconnected man when it comes to personal relationships and yourself? What have you observed?
It's a feeling of emptiness. It's a feeling of not really, belonging is, coincides with connection. We want to belong. We want to feel part of something. And when we don't, we can be connected on social media or, whatever, but it's empty connection. We're created, we're wired for deep connection with people that we choose to be in relationship with, our partner, our kids, close friends, deep connection. And when we're focusing on one area and not across the whole key four, we're sacrificing that connection. When we disregard our own habits and routine, it's a sacrifice of the connection with ourselves. And where, a lot of men, unfortunately, are playing this damage control game where, wife's not happy, got to spend a bit more time there. Business isn't great, my team aren't feeling supported, got to connect with them. I'm burnt out. And it's just this either or all the time. And that's not what we were wired for. We were wired to have adequate balance, even though balance doesn't exist, but a balance across all the key four, which fosters genuine connection in our relationships.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like this whole fucking game of life for a man, if you're on the journey of wanting to be a father, wanting to be a partner, some men aren't. They probably haven't made it this far on the podcast. But if you've made it this far, I guarantee you want to provide. You want to protect. You know that's your mission in this world. And providing and protecting isn't just money. Now, money's really fucking important. Like money provides you with freedom. It provides you with choices. But many men who have tens of millions of dollars kill themselves. Why? Because they're lacking connection.
Yeah.
You find me a man who is loved and respected by his wife, who feels deep connection with her, who feels like a superhero to his children, who is respected by his team. There is zero fucking chance that man kills himself because he's connected. Like for you to even think about ending your life, you have to feel a deep disconnection from the world, from the people around you. There must be a blockage there. And connection is so hard to maintain if you are not integrated in all these areas. It's just so fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Think about Robin Williams. He's got the wealth. He's got the loving family. Don't know how healthy he was, but mentally he was struggling. If he had dialed in the mental, and who knows, but if he had done the Empowered Man program, if he had had a mentor or a coach, if he had worked on that mental blockage, which you and I both know can be done in one session, 20 years of depression could be gone in one session with the right tools. He might still be here.
Yeah.
We see it every day with successful men is they're lacking this connection. And look, brother, if you're listening to this at home right now, or you're a wife of a man, you feel disconnected too, the number one mission gets to be connection. But it's so hard to have a lasting connection if you don't have clarity on what is and isn't working. You don't commit to all four of these areas. You don't consistently execute whether you feel like it or not. And you don't upgrade your capacity for life and take control of the controllables. But this is the beautiful thing. You can do all of this in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We've seen it time and time again. Like you can take control of your body, your mind, your balance and wealth all at once. Can you make $10 million in a week? Maybe, probably not. Can you lose 30 kilos in a week? Probably not. Can you get your wife who's about to divorce you to want to give you a blowjob the next day? Probably not. But you can make massive progress on all four of these areas so quickly. And what that will open up for you as a man is real wealth. More money and more success working less hours, yes. But intimacy, respect, appreciation, confidence, self-worth, self-belief, happiness, energy, joy, that is the promised land. And every man can experience that. But again, it requires a commitment. And this is where it comes to the final piece. We have the body, the mind, the balance, and the wealth. We have the C's that we get to go through, the letter C. We've talked about them. But the final two that no one thinks about is coaching and community. If you've listened this far and you think, wow, this sounds amazing, how the fuck do I get it? There are three options. One, you do it yourself. It can work. It's very fucking slow. You might not figure it out. It might take you 10 years. Option number two is you go see traditional psychologists and therapists. I don't fucking like them. I might get some hate for this. How dare you? Do you know why? Not all of them. Most psychologists and therapists or licensed professionals, they see patients for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. What the fuck? Or you can find a community of men who have achieved it and get coaching from men who have achieved it. That's why Empowered Man exists. You know, you and I have been through the divorce and separation. We've been through the depression. We've been through the broken body, the broken mind, the broken balance, the broken wealth. And now we've helped 5,000 men in our communities with coaches in their pocket fix it. What would you recommend to a man when it comes to this idea of getting a coach and being around the right community? How would you recommend a man implements that into his world if he wants this reality?
Find someone, find a coach, and that would be my recommendation as well. I agree with what you shared. Find a coach who doesn't just know about this, but who has lived it. Because it's great to have a qualification or to be skilled, but if it's not with substance, so like lived experience, then it's letters on a page. And sure, that can work. But when, like, this is why 2022, being able to help so many men going through a separation, because I was walking that journey myself, there was so much substance there. If you are battling with this stuff alone and you're like, yeah, no, I'll figure it out, you get to ask yourself how long you're willing to keep telling yourself that story. Because maybe you can, but like you said, maybe it'll take 10 years. Are you willing to wait 10 years? What could you lose in 10 years?
I always say to men, like, if you could have done it, you would have done it already.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of men listening to this going, great, you're telling me I could have my body, my mind, my balance and wealth all lined up, successful in every area. Yeah, right. Well, you can. And every day you don't know how to do that, you are burning. You are burning money, joy, time, your most valuable resource, connection. You're burning it. And by the way, that's okay. You don't have to have any of this shit. But if you say you want more, you've got to do something different. And it's so fucking hard to do on your own. I've spent $500,000 on coaches, mentors, systems. I've spent another $3 million in our business, developing our apps and systems and processes. I've had so much support. I would not be here running this podcast if I didn't get coaches. And it's wild. Every footy player has a coach. Every sports star has a coach. Every good business owner has a coach. But man, for some reason, they won't invest in themselves. They invest in, most men will spend 50 to 100 grand on a fucking car, but God forbid they drop money on themselves. I did a podcast a few weeks ago, 2,000 views, full of value, 90 fucking minutes. And I mentioned that we have a $48,000 program. Now, anyone listening right now, we also have way cheaper programs. Our cheapest programs, $100 a week. If you want to use our app for free, come message me on Instagram. And this guy latched onto that. He's like, another bullshit podcast of coaches pretending like they know everything. How can you say it's normal for a man to spend 48 grand on himself? I'm like, bro, it's not. Not every man should spend 48 grand on himself. But that same man will spend 48 grand on alcohol, cigarettes throughout lifetime, or on his car. So you tell me who's the fucking idiot. And I can guarantee you the men who spend 48 grand on themselves or 4 grand on themselves grow way faster than the men who don't. Because when you renovate a house, it becomes more valuable. Renovate yourself. Get somebody, like you say, who's living the path you want to live in all these 4 areas, pay them a bunch of fucking money and get their support. Or don't. I don't give a fuck. But don't sit here complaining about how shit your life is when you won't even invest in fixing the fucking problem. What about community? Why do so many men struggle to find men on the same path who are winning in all these areas?
We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
We're talking about our problems is weakness. And so we live in this story of like, oh, well, no one would understand anyway, because no one would be going through what I'm going through because we don't talk about it. And so like the thing that I love with the community we've created is that we've normalized talking about it, not bitching and moaning and whinging and complaining, but ownership, taking action, accountability, supporting one another, that band of brothers mentality. Like we've created that, and that's really what it's about. And joining you just over 8 years ago, some of the guys that I went through the program with are some of my closest mates now because we connected on that level. That in some of those other relationships that are a bit, hi, how you going? Yeah, good. How are you? They don't really hit the spot anymore because we want connection.
Yeah, it's part of connection as other men.
Yeah.
Men struggle so much with the lone wolf mentality. Like I've been there, I don't want to bother anyone with my problems. The friends I did have were drinking and taking drugs, and I felt alone. Running a business, I felt alone. Didn't want to share it with my wife. Dealing with stress and pressure, felt alone. And this lone wolf mentality is why we sedate ourselves, why we suppress ourselves, why we feel so much shame and guilt. Every successful man gets to be surrounded by successful men.
Yeah.
Like when you're around a band of brothers, of men who are winning in their body, winning in their mind, winning with their balance and relationships, winning in their wealth all at once, that rising tide raises all the ships. And if you've never experienced that as a man, like make that your fucking mission. Find a tribe of men who are dominating and winning at life, and everything improves. Not just your life, your kid's life, your partner's life. Everything improves when you surround yourself with winning men, not toxic men, men who are integrated and winning in all the areas. So if you've taken anything from this podcast, there are 4 core areas: your body, your mind, your balance, and your wealth. Get clarity. What's not working in each of these areas? Get to the raw fucking truth. Then ask yourself, what's the opposite? What do I want? Once you got that clarity, make a commitment to fucking change it. Make a commitment to consistently do what needs to be done, to upgrade your capacity, to take back control of your fucking life, and to get connection in every single area. And if you don't know how to do that, go and find someone who does. I implore you, man. Like it will be the number one investment you make in your life is committing to yourself. And if you want help with that, then reach out to the Empowered Man. We do this for men every single day. I'll drop a link down below. Send me a DM on Instagram, Tony Empowered Man. It will pop up on the screen as well. Send me a message, reach out, get some help, get some support, find a community of men. We currently have hundreds of men, some of them doing $1 million a year, some of them doing $100 million a year, successful men who are winning in all these areas, as well as a team of 7 coaches supporting them every single day. It's so fucking powerful. Is there anything else you want to leave the listener with to take action and actually invest in themselves?
We can live with the belief that it's body or health, body or mind or balance or wealth. And we can live with that either or mentality, or we can change that joining word, body and mind and balance and wealth. As cliche as it can sound, you really can have it all.
Yeah. Fucking love that. Brothers, anyone listening, wives, husbands, take some action and create a life where you have it all. Make a commitment to yourself. If you want to actually take this framework that I shared and apply it to your life, it's part of our Empowered Man Armory and our app that we've spent almost 250 grand on. If you want access to a powerful system where you can use this reframe system I just shared with you every single day, then find me on Instagram at Tony Empowered Man. TonyEmpoweredMan. I'll put the link down below as well. Send me a DM saying reframe, and I'll give you this exact framework as well as early access to the Empowered Man app when it launches.